Hi, and welcome everybody. My name is Liza Hausman. I'm the Vice President of Industry Marketing here at Houzz, and I'm so excited to bring to you this wonderful group of women today, business owners, designers, for our discussion on women-owned business leaders and how we define success. And let me quickly tell you who we have with us, and then I'm going to hand it off to them to introduce themselves. But we have Aziza Adu, who is the principal interior designer and founder of DIH Designs. We also have Tavangela Wren, who's the founder and head designer for TV Interiors. And then we have Melissa Fields, who's the owner and president of Shades of Grey Design Studio. So welcome, ladies. I'm gonna hand it off to Aziza. Please just briefly tell us about you and how your business gets started.
Yeah. So again, my name is Aziza Adu, and I'm the founder and CEO of DIH Designs. It was established back in 2018, and it's something that just fell on my lap. I've always been good with being creative and designing homes. I was in education for 10, 11 years. And so creating spaces that could help produce productivity and learning has always been a part of me. And so starting DIH Designs has been a passion of mine. I love it. We currently have 3 interior designers. I'm the principal interior designer. So we're a growing firm, and we just love transforming homes and making sure that homes represents our clients and that they love the home that they're walking into. So nice meeting you, and welcome.
Thanks for being here. All right, I'm going to hand the baton to Tavangela.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tavangela Wren. I go by TV, hence that's why my business is TV Interiors. I've been in the interior design industry since 2005 when I went to interior design school. I worked for several large interior design firms, and then I noticed that they didn't do design for the everyday person or the everyday people. So I started my own interior design business in 2015. So I work with anything from a single project all the way up to full remodels and office and commercial spaces. My passion is love where you live. I believe that even though, doesn't matter if you're rich or not rich, but you should always love where you live, and home is where the heart is. So I take that into all of my designs and I pull it forward and help my clients, create the home that they love. So that's my life. That's my passion. And I live for interiors, as you could tell.
Thanks, TV. Love it. All right, Melissa.
First of all, amen, TV.
Thank you.
I love where you live. I love it. So hi, everyone. My name is Melissa Fields, and I definitely came into interior design in a very non-traditional way. Was not formally trained. I was actually in the Air Force for 20 years. I retired in 2018, started my business shortly thereafter, still was working a 9-to-5, though, as had still to pay the bills, right? As I was building the business. And so just hit my 5th year. It's still me right now. I'm trying to grow the business, looking at, a couple different, interns and, some independent contractors to kind of grow the team a little bit. But no, it's been amazing. I started out doing staging and redesign, and then quickly found out I did not want to do that. I wanted to actually create spaces, right? I didn't want to do the neutralizing thing for the masses. I wanted to really create unique spaces for my clients and for people who were going to enjoy those spaces for a long time, for many years to come. So it's definitely been a whirlwind, and I'm still learning and just appreciative to be on this panel right now. So having a good time.
Welcome.
Wonderful. So excited to have all 3 of you here. So impressive with what you've done with your careers. And when we were getting ready to have this discussion, there were a few different topics that I think really resonated with everybody. And I think one, even though there are obviously a lot of women in interior design, there aren't a lot of women in construction. and you guys have to, work with a lot of different people and, areas of the business that are more male dominated. And one of the things that I kind of wanted to key off with the discussion was, how do you sort of establish yourself, build credibility, kind of make that transition to, giving direction in a construction world? And what are some of the challenges that you've seen? Maybe we'll start with Melissa.
We all chuckle, right?
Yeah.
Liza, you bring up a very good point. I think there's many things, right? But for me, I think really having your systems and processes in place. I think when you can show a male-dominated industry that you actually know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, you understand the lingo, you understand the language, and again, you know what you're doing, I think that really sets the precedent right there. A lot of times you have these male GCs or male trades that feel some type of way, right? And they have this like chip on their shoulder about, control and who's running the process. Well, if we're going to you and it's for my client project, I'm running the process, I'm running the project, but it's in collaboration with you as another valuable team member to execute this project and to do it right. So I think when you can show them that you've got systems and processes in place, like this is how I run my business, this is how I run the design process to get my client what they want, then they know that you're not messing around. It may not be the way they do things, but it's again, and I know we kind of talked about this a little bit where, you're the female, you look cute, you're the designer, oh, that's so cute type thing. But you actually, I can still look cute and know what I'm doing. So let's just be real. So I think that's one of the main, challenges that we have. But I think what I have seen is that when you can show them that this is not my first rodeo, this is my process, I do have systems in place to get my client what they want, then they understand that you're the real deal. For sure.
I agree.
Tavangela, you want to talk a little about yours? And I'd love to hear any specific stories that you guys are willing to share about, some of the challenges that you've experienced.
Don't we all have challenges? I mean, this list of them. But to piggyback off of what Melissa said, I agree. You definitely have to let GCs know that you know what you're doing. For me, one of the biggest ways that I just walk in, they always look at me, oh, there's the cute designer, she doesn't really know what she's doing. But then I show up with my CD drawings and I lay out my blueprints. I'm like, hey, I can read these drawings just like you can. I can create and develop full CD drawings. I can read full CD drawings. I can tell you, I can break down the details on these CD drawings. And once you show them that you know exactly what you're talking about, then that ego, it slowly begins to come down. And you also just have to have that male energy. You have to match their energy, because if not, then they try to come and, make you feel as though you don't know what you're talking about. But for me, I just go straight to the site and I'm like, hey, this is what I want. Understand, I'm here for the client and it's my design and you're here to execute the design that I created. And once you let them know that that's what this is about, the client, I'm here on the behalf of the client, then, sometimes it takes all of the drama or their ego out of the way. I work with the contractors that I know, so they know me well enough to understand that, yeah, I'm fun and I laugh and I come in and I joke with them, but also, we're here to do a job and you need to make sure that what I'm saying and what my client is saying is executed. And
that part.
That's the line there. So you can always, be fun on a job site, but you also have to let them know that just because you're a woman, you're not to be played with. And so that's the reputation that you kind of just have to have in this industry with men, which is not, I don't think it's like that with other male contractors or male subcontractors. But as women coming into the industry, you definitely have to put your foot down.
Yeah.
TV, I'm curious how long oh, sorry, Aziza. I was just going to ask TV real quick how long it took her to develop that team that you work with on an ongoing basis. Was that difficult to do? Yeah. And how many cycles did you go through before you got to the right group?
You know, honestly, some of the contractors that I worked with when I worked with previous designers. And so when I work with previous designers, they already know my design style and they know my requirements. Like, I am not a designer that's going to allow you to get over on me. To give you an example, I had a client, we just installed, a 15-foot fireplace, and I went there and they had put the wrong color grout. And I looked at them, I said, where did you get this grout color? Oh, well, we thought that, no, this is the wrong grout and you need to correct it. And they kind of looked at me and they looked at the homeowner, and I'm like, no, this is my design. So if you were unsure of anything, A, it's on the drawings. B, you can contact me directly and I'll tell you the color. This is your mistake and now you must correct it. But now they know that I'm the designer that will make them correct their mistakes. So moving forward, they call and they're like, hey TV, we're not sure on this grout. The client is saying this. And I'm like, you stick with what I provided you because I've designed it for a reason. So you just have to stick with it. You have to stand firm and understand that if they make a mistake, it's their dime and it's their problem and they need to correct it. And as professionals, they will, because we designers, we're a small community and we just let the other designer know, like, hey, I had him on my site. He made a mistake. He refused to correct it. This cost the client X, Y, and Z dollars. So even though the contractors kind of, don't probably sometimes take us designers seriously, they do understand that we're a vital part of their business. So they're not actually willing, to take that risk on their numbers. So for me, you got to stand firm. That's what I would say. Stick to it and make sure that if they make a mistake, that they pay for it, because you're not responsible for other people's mistakes.
Yeah. And Aziza, I know you had somebody in-house for a while. Tell us a little bit about your experiences. And
I hope no one that knows him is listening. Well, if they do, it's whatever. But yes, for a long time, we had a contractor in-house and we just weren't seeing eye to eye. And it was just better that we separate business. And so he has, he does his contracting thing and I do my interior designing thing. And every now and then I call him if I need work. If I need a general contractor. But I do think one thing that is important to know is that the ball is in the interior designer's court. And you really think about it. Yeah. Most general contractors that I work with, I usually call them to say, I have a client working on this project. Like, I need you to come and do this. It usually never happens the other way around. And so I just, when working with a general contractor, I let them know this is my project. This is my vision. My goal is to make sure that the clients, that the design that we put together, that we can execute it correctly, right? And the only way for that to happen, we have to communicate with one another, right? There has to be clear communication. And again, the ball is in my court. So there's one thing to say that this may not work, but there's another thing to say that, no, we can't do this, right? And I do think that clear communication is key, but also just letting contractors know that the ball is in my court and what I want to happen. I also think that when working with contractors, and I just try to keep this at the forefront of my head whenever I'm working on a project, but to consistently be clear, that is super important. I don't know how many projects I've been in when I've told a contractor one thing and he thinks that his way is better. And I'm like, no, this is what I want. And so I say everything. And I think it's also the educator in me. I do say everything verbally and also put it in writing so that there's no way you could have gotten it wrong. Right. And also just being, and I hate to use this term because it has such a negative connotation, but command what you want, right?
Yes.
Right.
Command it.
Yes. Apologetically so.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You have
they have
to.
to match their energy all
You have
day.
to.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
over, especially for somebody who's coming into the interior design world, you're going to come across some challenges. I don't think there's any way to go around it. You're working with another individual who may not understand your work ethic or your style. And so I would say give it time. Many of the contractors that I have good relationships with now, we've had falling outs in the past. And it took for us to understand our communication styles and for them to know that, like, I'm here, right? Like, if you want to make money, right? Like, if you want to do this project, then you do as I say. And that's just it. And they understand that respectfully. And we play our part.
Play your part.
I think there's a mix too, you guys. I love what Aziza said when she was talking about it takes time and them not understanding the way we work, right? Because I think a lot of times, and I don't want to put every contractor in the same bucket, but a lot of them, and maybe the majority of them, they're so used to doing things their way, right? They go in, they get a job. Homeowners that do not hire interior designers, they just feel that they're DIYers. They just want a GC to come in and do the work. And so they're not used to how we work, our work ethic, and the expectations of that level of excellence and quality that we want for our client projects, right?
There you go.
Oh no, my client project is not another one and done where you come in, hurry up and throw the same tile up in the bathroom that you've done the last 5 projects, and then you're on to the next project. No. That's not how we do this. So I've actually had a couple GCs had a fallen out in the past because they told me my standards were too high.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that you even verbalized that and said that to me,
it's ridiculous.
Because this just showed me that I absolutely don't want to work with you again. I think we're done here. This is not we're not going to move forward because if you are thinking that my standards are too high because that equates to you doing the job correctly and doing it with a certain level of excellence, then we don't need to have this partnership. So I think, trying to getting them to understand, check the ego at the door. Because this is not about you. This is about my client getting the very best work and quality and communication and client service and client experience as possible. Then we got to work together as a team. It's not about, let's see who's better than what, I don't have time for that. So I think that's one of the biggest things. I love that you said that, Aziza, because it takes time for them to understand, look, this is how I work. We're not just another project that you can come in here, do it, get paid, and move on to the next. This is not the quality. I'm looking at quality. I'm very much about the details. If you want to call it OCD and you want to call me crazy, then I'll be all that. But I just need you to know that you can execute at the level that I'm expecting you to execute.
And you know what, Melissa, to piggyback on that is that they don't understand that our clients are the expectations that the clients put on us as designers of pure perfection. You don't get to make a mistake. So if I can't make a mistake and I need I'm being held to the standard of perfection, then you as a contractor need to deliver perfection. That's it. Like, that is what is happening. And I would say in this business now, the level of professionalism and work ethics have completely taken a downward toll, if you ask me, in the past few years, because people are no longer trying to be the best at their craft. You're not trying to be the best installer. You're trying to just get it done.
It's more about quantity. Yeah,
I have the best quality. I hold myself to a standard of perfection. So I'm going to hold you to that. And if you can't meet my level of, then you have now been crossed off of my list as contractors, because if I can't deliver perfection to my clients when they're expecting it, then you can't work for me. Like, you can't work with me.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. But
You guys are getting a lot of love. In the definitely resonating with this. I wanted to kind of shift gears a little bit and quickly touch on one topic. And we have a lot of questions coming in, so I definitely want to make sure we leave time for all the good questions that are coming in. But there's a quote from Forbes that says, expanding diversity in design is not only about making sure that designers of color have equal opportunities to succeed professionally, it's also about driving greater innovation and creativity within our field by sourcing a wider range of talent. And I think, the stats are, I think 82% of the industry is white, only 2% is Black. So maybe just kind of short comments from each of you on, how are you encouraging it? And what do you think that the industry could do better to encourage more diversity in interior design?
So I could talk about this for like the next 70 minutes. But I think we talked about this before, ladies, and industry needs to start from the top. It's not just the interior designers, it's the builders, it's the contractors, it's even the suppliers or the vendors that you purchase your material from. I went to the IBS show here in Las Vegas, and when I tell you that it had to be 97.5% white, and that was it. But all of the hundreds of booths that I stopped at, I might have seen 60 minorities total. That is absolutely insane when hundreds and thousands of people attended the IBS show. So it needs to start from the top, from the builders, the suppliers, people who you source your material from, all the way down into the designers, because then now you are getting a wider variety. I design very differently than my fellow, white designers here in Las Vegas. I'm full of, anyone comes to me, I am color all day. I will import color in everything that I possibly can. But everyone else are so timid of color. I mix and match metals. Some people don't, because they need things to be so perfect. So it's such a wide variety when you get different diversities of designers, and we're missing that in the industry. And I think it's a disservice to the clients that are actually looking for designers when they can't find someone that's really going to be able to execute the type of design that they're looking for, because some people are not out of the box thinkers and they can't do it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think it sends a message, right, that there's a single story when it comes to African-American interior designers, that we only design a certain way because of our cultural background. And that is very different, right? Look at my office. Our backgrounds, right? Totally different. And we're all African-American. And so I think that, to Vangela's point, it starts with the powers that be, right? And I do think that we have to hold these corporations and companies accountable. I mentioned in the last time we met, this maybe 2 years ago, High Point Market, they were having a, I think it might've been a webinar or a session around being inclusive. And majority of the panelists were white. I think maybe they had one Hispanic lady and one African-American man on the flyer. And I saw it and I was like, what is going on? And I went to the comments and everybody was like, this is not inclusion. This is not diversity. Like, everyone was commenting in the under the post. And they closed it down. They ended up and they found other interior designers for another panel discussion. And so when we hold the powers that be accountable and we say that, like, we're here and we're actually doing a really good job. Like, look at us. I think it helps it tells them that, like, in order to have a conversation around design, our voices have to be heard as well, right? Like, it's important to hear what my perception is, what my perspective is in relation to interior design. And I just think it's really important to have all voices in that space.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with everything you guys said. And I really, to me, it boils down to perspective and points of view, right? So even amongst the three of us, right, I'm going to have a different perspective and point of view than you ladies do, okay?
Absolutely.
We might look, the color of our skin might be similar, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to have a perspective the way that you would have the perspective. So yes, starting at the top and the leadership in this design industry, I think giving us the opportunity, because we don't all design the same. We don't all have that unique, we have different unique perspectives, right? We don't design the same way. We don't look at things the same way, but that is the beauty of what we do.
It is, absolutely.
Of the interior design industry. So it's not about, and to me, I don't know how you ladies feel about this, but it's not about checking the boxes and meeting the quota and saying, yeah, we have this panel of Black designers, or we have this panel of minority designers. Hey, we've met our quota for the year. We've done it. We're inclusive. But no, that's not it. You don't stop there. That also doesn't mean that our perspectives are better than white perspectives, or it doesn't. We're all, again, if we're all creatives, then we need to look like how we're creative. Does that make sense? I mean, if we're so creative, then we shouldn't all be, looking the same and having the same perspectives and talking about the same things. So it does. I think it really sends a message when you see the percentage difference. You see that delta is huge. I think it's getting better. I'll give a little bit of credit. Yes, it's getting better, but we have a long way to go, people. We have a long way to go. And so I think the opportunity to allow designers of color to have a voice in the industry, to share their perspective, to share their experience, to share their background. And I will say, it also shouldn't be, minority designers who have platforms.
Right.
I celebrate everybody. It doesn't matter who you are and what you do, but it's not just about people who have platforms. Yeah. But I think there's a lot that Aziza has to say. I think there's a lot that I have to say, a lot that, Tevangelia has to say, or Tevangela. Sorry, I messed up your name.
I was coming for you.
I'm just going to call you TV there, but TV. So, but we all have something to say. We all have a story. We all have a voice behind what our experiences are and what we have to offer the world. So I just really think that, yes, it always starts at the top, I think, with any industry for that change. But I was at KBIS this year too, TV, when I was there in Vegas, and walking around the showroom, I agree with you. I mean, you're like,
you're a fish out of water in that place.
Yeah. And so, so I really think, yes, it starts at the top, but I think having opportunities like this where we can talk about it, we can start the dialogue and then keep it going, and we're consistent and not just checking the boxes.
Yeah.
Love it.
And, Melissa, just what I want is that if there's more designers like ourselves that are being seen, then the younger generation are now, I met a young lady who wanted to be an interior designer, and everyone around her, was like, there aren't Black designers. And she was so discouraged. And I'm like, listen, there are Black designers. There's not a lot of us, but there are some, and don't allow people to limit what you want because they can't see it. And it's that, how do we inspire younger minority children to come into an industry that they could literally fall in love with if there's no one that looks like them?
Yeah.
Exactly. Representation is key.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I worked with a client last year, and they had two lovely daughters. I did their living room and their kitchen and their dining room area. And after the project was over, the husband gave me a picture that the daughter drew of her bedroom, right? And she was like, I saw what Mrs. Aziza did to her home, and it inspired me to decorate my room. So this is what I want my room to look like. And it was very touching to see that, someone who,
so beautiful.
Yeah, she might have known nothing about interior design, right? But this influenced her and inspired her to look into that this industry. And so representation is key. And when we limit and when we don't showcase the different perspectives, right, and highlight minorities who are heavily being like, our influence is great in every industry, right?
Yes.
Like you see it in music, you see it in all,
yes.
right? So
Flavor.
exactly. So it's really important to like uplift our voices, because what it does is it sends a message that, you know, we can get into this industry. We can be interior designers, and we can have an impact on the world.
Absolutely.
100%. And what I think one thing that is also amazing, and I think, you know, sets you up as role models, is that you're defining success in your own terms, right? And that was one topic we talked about, that what does it mean to you personally and professionally? And Melissa, I'm gonna start with you, because you had said something when we talked about, you know, Instagram scrolling for 60 seconds and feeling bad about yourself. And we've all done this, right? And so, you know,
that is real, Melissa.
Battle, right? And I think, you know, no matter what your ethnicity, this is an issue. And
no matter what,
this whole comparison and not being good enough and feeling like an imposter and all of these things. Maybe, you know, again, we'd love to hear a little bit about how each of you define success. But maybe, Melissa, talk a little bit about how do you get past that? And I'm sure for newer designers, it's an even bigger, you know, obstacle out there.
Yes, y'all, that comparison trap is real. And
stay away from it.
I don't care, like exactly what Liza said. I don't care what ethnicity you are. There is no, it is no respecter of persons. I'll tell you that. I literally used to battle with discouragement so bad. I literally would just try to avoid Instagram, because I'm like, I get on there and I try to post something, but then, you know, you keep scrolling and then you're just like, I don't know if I really am good enough. Like you start having, and I'm just being real. I'm just, you know, a lot of people won't say it, and I used to be embarrassed to feel that way, but I'm like, no, people need to hear that, because there are still a lot of people who feel that way, and it's real for them. It may not be the truth. It may not be, you know, exactly, you know, that they're not good enough. I think they're absolutely good enough. But when you start to compare yourself with what other people are putting on social media, which, let's be real, people put on there what they want the world to see.
Yes.
You don't know the struggles. You don't know the meltdowns. You don't know what it took to get to that level. You don't know what they're battling with right now. Oh, but I'm not going to show you that. I'm going to put out the pretty stuff. I want people to see that I'm killing it. But deep down inside, I'm just like, I don't know how I'm going to survive. How am I going to pay my bills? How am I, you know what I'm saying? But it's like,
the struggles.
Right.
The struggle. Yeah.
Right. And so I've gotten to the point, I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older and I'm feeling more comfortable in my skin, where it's just, I don't have time to compare myself to what other people are doing. I don't know what their struggle is or what it took for them to get there. What if they're in the middle of their season and I'm in the beginning? Mm-hmm. Or, you know, again, I just said I'm 5 years in, but I'm comparing myself to somebody that's been in 15 years. You know, that are super established. They've been around for a long time. You know, they're out there. They've got established clientele, things like that, right? So now I'm not even, if you even want to compare, I'm not comparing apples to apples. Now I'm comparing apples to oranges. So I think it's one of those things where it's like I'm running the race against myself. And I recently posted this on my Instagram not too long ago, because I feel like, again, I want to share my heart and the things that I've battled with, because I know there are other people out there who feel that way, that I'm not in competition with another designer. I'm actually in competition with myself. How can I be better, you know, a year from now, right? How can I, you know, I feel like I've grown. I'm not the same person I was a year ago, right? And so there's growth. So I don't have time to be comparing myself to other people, because I think I just posted this too, like nobody else in the world can do what you do like you do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, nobody, there's not another you. There's not another TV. There's not another Aziza. There's not another Light. There's not another Melissa. So you can try to mimic what I do, but you'll never be me. And I'll never be you. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
So it's just, so the success part of that is not to me, not how many followers I have, which I used to think that, not how many followers I have, not how many, you know, accolades I get, is, oh my gosh, what difference am I making in my client's life? If we're in the business of transformation, how am I a part of that? How am I touching mind, body, and soul, and getting people to come home every day and be like, boy, my house is on point. Because I didn't used to, I was avoiding my house. I didn't want to come home every day because it was unorganized. It was chaos. It was not beautiful. I didn't feel like it was me.
Right.
But I hired Aziza, I hired TV, I hired Melissa, and it's like we're in a brand new home. Like I feel peace. I feel like that's my sanctuary. I feel connected to it, right? I actually want people to come over and, instead of, trying to hide my home. So to me, but that is growth. I'm still not all the way there, but I'm beginning to really like embrace that, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps anybody.
You know what, Melissa, you said something and it touches me because I always like go here is that you say, you're looking at your work and you're set and you think, maybe my work isn't good enough. This person is doing better work, but I want to say to you is that it's not that your work wasn't good enough. They just had a different opportunity, right? Like, so, you know what I mean? So they were given an opportunity that wasn't given to you because maybe they didn't notice you. They didn't see you. You can see these, multi-million-dollar homes and you could build that home and you could design that home and it would be beautiful. But if you're not given the opportunity, then you don't have that. You don't get to present that to the world. So don't limit yourself. For me as a designer, for me as a person, I rarely care what people think, period. Like that's just like my staple of the world. Like I'm like, whatever. I do what I want. I wear what I want. I design how I want. And that's because like, I know that there's no comparison for me. I have said to people, I'm like, you cannot compare yourself to me. I am an original. I cannot be duplicated. I cannot be replicated. Ever. And therefore my success comes in that I have clients that I walked into his house the other day, because I haven't heard from him and I was kind of worried about him. So I touched him and saw how he was doing. And, I went over there, I just chatted with him and we stood in his living room and he says, you know what, TV, I love this living room. It's so inviting. Like I want to come in and sit down. And for me, I want people to love where they live. So for you to tell me that you love this living room, that people come in and they want to sit down and feel comfortable, then that's my success. Yeah. So I probably be like an online TV star? I think I could. I'm not even going to lie, right? Because I pat myself on the back.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, that's not what I dream. I dream of having people to love where they live. Like, that they're had the roughest day in the world and then they come home and then they're at peace because their design has brought them peace and comfort. To me, that's my success. And that's why I design. Like other people design to be famous and I design to give people peace and comfort. And so there's no comparison in that.
I love that.
It's just great to know that like I'm amongst women who we have
we love what we do.
We have to believe like this is awesome because like impact is such an important thing, right? Like you go in, the job that we do as interior designers, we don't get paid as much as
Come on.
Yeah, seriously.
Thank you.
We're therapists.
Yes, ma'am.
I feel like sometimes I'm counseling couples, right? I'm like, I'm married couple. Like,
everything.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes on mentally that we provide to our clients. And this cannot be measured by follows. Like you can't capture that on social media. You can't. Right. The only way you can really capture it is by having those meaningful conversations that Angela is saying that she's had with her previous client, right? Like building those relationships. Like this year, we have 3 clients that we've worked with previously call us back to come and work on a project, right? That's because we went in, we did a really good job. They love their space, right? They feel productive. They feel like they can be their best selves and we're providing that for them. And I think that if that is your passion, if that's what you're in interior design to do, then let that be how you measure your success.
Come on.
Yes, absolutely.
And I've heard people say that followers don't even get you clients. So
right, it's the truth. It's the truth.
They don't. They just following.
Yeah,
and some people do. Some people do get a lot of their clients through Instagram, and that's great. I think that's, again, I celebrate that, but that's not, you could have 100,000 followers, but do you have 100,000 clients out of that? Or
right.
People just, where there's no engagement, you don't have a relationship. And you said something, Aziza, relationships are everything.
And that takes time.
Everything, whether it's with our trades, with contractors, definitely our clients, and then our peers, right? Other designers, to lift each other up, to encourage each other in those dark moments where we feel like, man, I'm not, I'm missing something. Like, I don't know what's going on, or, I'm in a valley right now. I was just on the mountaintop, but man, it's an ebb and flow of life, right? It just happens. So, yeah.
I'm going to chime in here because we have a couple of questions that tie into this particular topic, Melissa, and I'm sure all of you will comment. Both Emily and Monica were kind of asking about, building that network. So, Emily was asking, did you have mentors when you started out? Who helped build you up? And Monica wanted to know who were the best sort of contacts and partners to help you through that, starting process and growth. So curious to hear, how you built that network of people that helped you build your business.
Yeah, I have an interesting story. When I first got into design, I thought, and mind you, I'm leaving education to go into interior design, right? I didn't have any formal education. And so I met with somebody, I guess you could say cousin, connected me with somebody who, he also considers himself to be an interior designer. We went out, we ate lunch, and I showed him the projects that I was super proud of, right? I was like, oh, I did this, I did that. And he looked at it and he was like, you're not an interior designer, stop calling yourself one. And my heart dropped. And it was because of that one encounter, I shied away from interacting with other interior designers. I didn't even think that I belonged in the space, right? I didn't think that, for a very long time, my mindset has always been, I'm going to create my own table, right? If I'm not going to be, if I can't be welcomed in, I'm going to create my own table. But I would say within the last 2 years, I found 2 mentors, and they've been a blessing in my life, right? One is a developer, and the other one, he builds office spaces in Nigeria. And one of the things that one of the mentors told me that has always resonated with me is, no matter how difficult things can be, to always celebrate the wins. You're doing something right? Name it and celebrate it. Because that is what keeps you in the game. That's what keeps you persistent, right? That level of patience that, it helps you stay in this industry and sound. And so for me, I think you can achieve mentorship and it doesn't have to be an interior designer. It can be anyone. It can literally be anyone. And it can be a spiritual mentor, because to be honest with you, when you're starting a business, you probably need someone who can probably help you mentally and to provide.
Agree with you is what they need sometimes.
Exactly.
My goodness.
Yeah, but definitely seek it. It doesn't have to be an interior designer. Definitely seek it in other places, but also just make sure that whoever is mentoring you, they have your best interest in mind. They're supporting you, and that you feel loved, right? And you feel supported. That's really important.
Aziza, I love that you said that when you said it doesn't have to be another interior designer, because I think a lot of times we think we have to get that mentorship and encouragement from another designer. Mm-hmm. While that may be true in some aspects, you don't. I will say my husband is one of my mentors, because he's seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. He's seen the meltdowns. He's seen the discouragement. He's seen that, and he tends to be the one that will remind me of the why. Why are you doing this? Are you going to allow that, to take you off your game, to get you distracted, right? I also have other people who are business owners. They're not interior designers, but because they run their own business, they understand how hard, and sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes it's lonely when you're running a business because a lot of people don't understand. So it's one thing to be a designer, but if you're a designer and you're running your own company, that is nothing to sneeze at. That is no small feat, right? We deal with a lot of stuff. We're doing the designing. We love that part. It's our passion. We're obsessed with it. But then we have the business side of it. And so how do you keep your business going during the rough times? You know, when sometimes you feel like, man, I just want to throw in the towel. This is for the birds, right? But you're like, no, I can't do that. I don't have give up in me. I'm not doing that. So I love that you said it doesn't have to be an interior designer, because again, for me, it's other business owners that are really close friends of mine. We actually scheduled like business dates. We'll go grab some wings. We'll go have dinner. We'll go do something, and we will talk business and strategy. And so how did you do this? And what, it might not be exactly running an interior design firm, but there are a lot of commonalities in that when you're running a business. So seek other people. I mean, my pastor is another one. When I, you know, from a spiritual perspective, when I'm really down and out or whatever, he has to remind me of who I am. He has to remind me of what, you know, I'm stronger than what I think. I have more in me that just hasn't come out yet, right? And so I'm still being developed and I'm still learning. And part of that is making mistakes and failing, but then learning from that and then getting back up, you know, dusting yourself off and just keep doing it. So yeah, I love that part of it, not having to be another designer.
Yeah.
I love that you guys have had that. You know, I can't say that I've had a mentor per se. I did, you know, I am from a formally trained education. So I did go to school and I did learn, you know, the back end or, you know, the actual design aspect of creating a type of interior design. But once you get out of school, they literally just like throw you to the fishes and they're like, I hope you know what I mean, make it. We'll see how you do. And you know, that is always so discouraging because it's so hard to get into the industry. So I would say like my own like mentor or motivation was myself, because I live in Las Vegas, and, you know, Las Vegas is, you know, eat or be eaten. And that is just the way it is. So like you have no choice. So I started, you know, working with single designers and then moving into like furniture and accessories. So I specialize in furniture and accessories because I know so much about it. Like, and because I'm so great at, you know, doing furniture and accessories, the showroom managers that I work with, because I have access to the World Market Center year round, a lot of my showroom managers are like my inspiration and like my pushers. My showroom's like, you know, wow, TV, you are really rocking this year. You're selling, you're doing this. I had a client that was asking, you know, for some help. So I gave them your information. And it's the ones that have worked with me and seen how difficult it has been to get where I am. I give thanks to them because they had my back, you know, like TV. Yeah, they're in sales, but they're like, we believe that you know what you're doing. You have what it takes. And so that helped me get where I'm going. But then it's like little things that, you know, I take my daughter is 6 and she loves to design, and she goes out and she can put a color scheme together better than a lot of people. And like all of my showroom managers and like the tile places that I go and the wallpaper, they all know her. They ask for her. So then for that, she tells people, I want to be a designer like my mom. So that's like my inspiration too, is like my baby inspires me and just gives me that push of like, and she'll be like, you can do this, mommy. So it's like, I have like a little tiny mentor and she's like 6, but you know, she's always pushing me. And it comes to the fact, like, I have no choice, right? Like, failure is not an option for me. It's not even in my makeup. So either I'm going to do it or I'm going to do it. Like, that's it. So that I like my own mentorship, kind of what happened in life. But, you know, on another topic, my boyfriend said something funny to me one day. And as designers, we walk into spaces, right? I don't know if I touch everything, right? If I walk into a restaurant, I'm touching the walls to see what type of wallpaper it is. I am, rubbing the back of the banquettes to see what type of vinyl is used, what type of, rubs it. I am everywhere. And my boyfriend said to me, he says, I think it's amazing. Like, to see things through your eyes is just amazing, because you see that. I never noticed it before you. And now everywhere I go, I notice it. And it's like little things like that. Like, man, I'm doing something. I'm showing it's just, we all have different things, but I didn't have designers here that wanted to show me the ropes. I have some friendly designers, but here it's like they want it all for themselves. And I'm like, hey, it's enough for everybody.
Yes.
In this world.
Yes, true.
Yeah. And I think as everyone is speaking, I think the thing that resonates with me the most is to seek mentorship in those who fill you up.
There you go. Yeah.
Those who fill you up.
6-year-old.
Exactly. It could be a 6-year-old. It can be, it could be anyone, just anyone who believes in you, who supports you,
who encourages you
to be successful and strive.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
So we have a question from another Melissa who's watching today, and so many wonderful comments and questions, folks. So apologies if we don't get to everything, but kind of another sort of confidence and credibility question, but dealing with a client, right, rather than the GC. So Melissa says, thank you guys so much. And how do you deal with responding to a client in a respectful way when they constantly question your design and the outcome? I try to respond with trust the process and my design, but I fear my delivery. And I think how she's communicating it isn't always well received. How does that work for you guys? And, maybe it's part of your client screening process, but tell us a little bit more.
I think that's the biggest thing is there when there are clients who are constantly questioning, there's a lack of trust. And, and even I always say, when they come at you with their representative in the beginning, right? Sometimes a lot of that stuff isn't revealed. You might be able to kind of discern whether, there's some red flags there, but sometimes you miss it. But I think there's a lack of trust. Yes. I think just, for me, I haven't really had that issue, but I did have a client, that kind of questioned a couple things. She didn't question all, a lot, but she questioned a couple things. And what I did was I had to remind her, that she came to me. Okay, let's have a little discussion. Again, you don't want to say it in a condescending manner, right? I think delivery is everything too. You don't want to say it where you're condescending or you make them feel bad, or that you're showing that you're really upset with them or you're angry or whatever the case may be. But just, hey, listen, remember, you came to me. Let's kind of go back to what your pain points were. You said, you needed help with this, and this, this wasn't working. So you came to me because you said that you didn't know how to do it, or you said that you didn't have the time. You were too busy. This was not your wheelhouse, but it is my wheelhouse. This is my zone of genius. I do this every day. This is what I do. So we have gotten this far. And you've loved everything, right? So now, because I understand there's a couple of questions, I'll answer the questions, but I always try to figure out what the root cause of that is. Is it because maybe they're indecisive, or is it because it's out of their comfort zone and they're like, okay, everything was going great at this until we get to this point, but I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work, or I don't know, So yes, reminding them to trust the process, but really to trust you, because they came to you. They came to you because they couldn't do it, or they didn't know how to do it. They didn't have the time to do it. So I think when you come at them with love, right? And not in a condescending manner, but hey, we're on the same team. We're on the same team. You came to me. I'm trying to get you there to the finish line. Just trust me. I think if it continues on, I think those are the red flags where if it really doesn't matter what you say, I think at that point you might have to really start looking at, maybe is this something that we will have to part ways, because if you're going to constantly question everything that I do, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
This is not going to work.
I agree with you, Melissa, mostly.
That's okay. We have different points of view.
We have different points of views.
Yeah, educate me.
And so I feel like when you start off in interior design, or you're on your own, right? You feel you have to take every client because you need the business, and you need the images, and I feel like you have to step out of that state of mind that you have to keep them as clients, because I'm saying this because I did that. I took a client, and when I met him, something told me that he was going to be a problem client, but I didn't listen to myself. And from there, it was always just something, not even just questioning me, because my design, he never questioned, but it was everything else of the contractors, and this is happening, and it was just, you could have given him a house for free and he would have not been happy. You just have those people. And now when I get a client and I ask these questions and I see that flag, I tell them, you know what, I'm going to just go ahead and let you know that I'm not the type of designer that can be micromanaged. And so if that is the type of, if you feel you need to walk and hold my hand, or I have to hold your hand, then we're not going to work, because I am my own boss, my own designer. Like, I cannot be micromanaged. And so for me, it's not all money is good money. And because I think that way, I've stepped away from clients that I felt were just problems, that I knew were going to be problems, even in times where you need the income, you want the income, but sometimes the problems that are going to come with them are not worth it. It is not worth it. So if you have a client that's constantly questioning you, I do agree with Melissa of like finding the root problem. Yeah. But if it's the root problem that they're a micromanager, and you are not a designer that can be micromanaged, then you should just go ahead, and I have it in my contract. Okay, get yourself a good contract, have an attorney draw it for you. That's my number one question. Have an attorney draw you a contract, pay the money. But in my contract, it states that at any point in time that I feel that this is not working, I will walk away with no notice. And that sometimes you have to let them know, this is what I do every day. I'm a designer every day, and all I do is design. I don't do anything else. So this is how I make my living. And if you can't trust that, then I'm not the designer for you. So that'd be my advice. So I agree with you mostly 90.
No, but I agree with you too.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to walk away. It's not worth it.
100%.
Yeah. And I would also say don't, because it seems like I was reading the question as well. Don't internalize it. Don't
it's not about you.
Exactly. It may not be about you at all. That's one. Two, don't be scared. Like Tavangela said, don't shy away from interviewing your clients. They interview you. Yeah. Right? You have all rights to interview them as well. Because interior design, honestly, is a marriage, right? Like, if we're gonna bump heads, if you're not gonna trust me, then our marriage is going to fail. Right?
Right.
The relationship
is so intimate, and it's a level of trust, right? Because someone is letting you into their home. This is their home where they live with their family. Yeah. It's such a personal thing, and if they don't believe that they can trust you in their home, then it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Just sorry. But I'm the honest designer, sure.
Good to be honest. We're coming up to the end here. I just want to take a minute to, say hats off to you ladies for the work that you're doing, the people that you are, the role models that you are, and to thank you for spending the time with everybody here. It's great to see all the love coming from the reactions in this webinar. So I hope you guys can feel the love coming from the audience. But This was so insightful. I want to let folks know we are recording this and we will be sending it out. So if you missed any part of it, want to see more of it, or you want to share it with somebody that you know and get a lot out of it, we will be sending this out. So thank you guys again. Yeah, Bridget just said I can listen to this all day.
Thank you, Bridget. We love you.
Wonderful.
Liza, is there room for one question? And it's just one that I see by, I'll just read the question. It said, who would be your dream client and that would embody your definition of success? And for me, I think it's a good question of like a dream client, because I have a dream client and he is not like this multimillionaire. It's not this big house. It's not, anything dramatic, but it's the client that when he's going to make a change in his house, he wanted to design his backyard, and he's, called and says, you know what, I want to design my backyard. And I know that instead of me just trying to do this by myself, that I'm going to call you because, I just want you to bring the interiors out to the exteriors. And anytime he decides to make a decision, or before he even makes a decision, he'll call me and ask me, does it go with the design? For me, that's my dream client, because he trusts that I'm going to give him the information that he needs, but he also just trusts me as a designer to give him the results that he's actually looking for. So I think your dream client is the one that trusts you as a designer, that hires you to help them achieve a goal, and they allow you to achieve it. It's not about the biggest budget. It's not about the biggest home. It's about the one that allows you, that trusts you enough to bring them into your house and let you give them the design that they're looking for. I think for me, that's my dream client. I don't know about you ladies, but I saw that and I'm like, I think that's a question that maybe we should kind of touch on.
Yeah, and I agree. I think trust is key. Trust is key. When someone is allowing you to come into their home, I think for me, it's, not that I'm nosy or anything, but I think it's also important to understand the person. That's our model. Understand you to understand your design. And if there isn't transparency, right? Like if I don't know what is it that moves you, what makes you happy, what makes you proud, what resonates with you, what affirms your greatness, then I can't instill that in your home. And so knowing, I don't need to know your entire business, but knowing you enough to have that represented in your home is important for me. I'll share a quick story too. I know like time is up, but
all right, don't worry.
I had a client 3 years ago. This is like, I'm still on the fence about like interior design. Like, is this for me? Is it not? I'm still dealing with imposter syndrome. But I had a client who recently divorced. The husband was abusive. That's why she left. And so she's raising her son by herself. And knowing this information, it moved me in so many ways, right? Like even down to like the artwork. The artwork, I wanted it to symbolize something for her.
Yes.
And so I think for, to go along, I hate to be stealing your answer to Angela, but I think for me is understanding a person, right? Like if there's a sense of loyalty and trust, then I can deliver the best space that help to promote a better person or,
absolutely
to help affirm your greatness.
Yeah, we have to get into our clients' heads. We're not mind readers, but we need to get pretty darn close. Seriously, to really understand, again, like Aziza was saying, I don't need to know your whole business, but whatever you feel comfortable sharing with me, the more the better, just so I really get a feel for who you are and what you want to evoke in your space. The trust, obviously, I think that's always going to be like hands down. You have to have that. I think for any designer, I don't care who you are, if you don't have the trust, it's not going to happen. But I think for me, the other part of that is the creative freedom.
Yes.
Right.
Let me do what I do.
Yes.
I'm not saying that there aren't parameters. I think anytime when you're dealing, especially in residential interior design, you're dealing with homeowners. People do have certain preferences and tastes and things that, that they want to be displayed in their home. But within those parameters, if you can give me that creative freedom, I promise you.
I'm delivering. Yeah.
I promise you.
Yes.
You are going to get something amazing.
Yes.
When you are forcing me to put a square peg in a round hole and you're not giving me any leeway, my question is, why did you even call me? Why are you asking me? Why do you even understand what it means to hire an interior designer? Do you understand the value and what we do and what we bring to the table? Because that says to me that you don't. So if you're telling me do this and I want you to do this particular space, but I have, XYZ rules, regulations, requirements, and all that, I'm like, okay, now we started with this, but now you've given me this. So you want me to move in this little space. I'm not going to be able to deliver what I know I can deliver with those parameters. So that to me, I think as far as ideal client, the trust, really getting to know, I'm stealing both y'all's.
No, you're not. We're in agreement.
Right? Great minds think alike, but that creative freedom piece is huge for me. Yeah. It means everything to me. And when I'm not able to do that, that's why y'all are hiring us, right? They're for our creativity. If you could do it, then you would do it.
Yeah.
If you can do it, you can do it.
Right.
I'm living it.
All right, I'm done. I'll shut up.
It's a great note to end on that you can do it. And hopefully everybody feels a little more empowered after today to do it and to start a business or to feel a little bit better when they feel bad about running their business to remember it's something that everybody is.
It's a struggle.
Be encouraged. Yes. You can
do it.
You can.
Shoot. If we could do it, y'all.
Yeah.
If I can do it.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to say farewell to everybody now. And thanks again to all of you ladies.
Thanks, ladies, for joining us.
Thank you.